Hey guys, welcome back to Does POV Reviews. Today we got a beautiful car to showcase for you guys. This is the Landcruiser 2010 4.4 litre diesel. So this is the more popular car here in Australia. We're gonna have a look at the exterior first, and then we look at the interior, and then we'll go for a short drive to show you how the car drives with a POV camera. So first of all, the front, normal 200 series with the bull bar that has been installed on this car. This is with the TGM bull bar. You got spotlights here and a light bar over there. This is the white pearlescent color. This is a GXL model, so no chrome around the windows and surrounds and everything. Keyless entry, of course, on all four doors. The back is also has a bull bar at the back. You got the V8 badge and the GXL and the Landcruiser badging over here. First of all, we're gonna have a look at the engine and show you how it looks. So this is the 4.4 litre V8 twin turbo diesel. This has 195 kilowatts of power and 650 newton meters of torque. Fantastic healthy numbers from this engine, especially in the torque department, and this is why this car is used for towing more than the petrol one that we test drove the other day. Fantastic engine. It is connected to a 6-speed automatic transmission, and the petrol one comes with a 5-speed, so this is a 6-speed. The fuel consumption is rated at 10.3 liters. Unfortunately, we can't really confirm that. The car does not come with a trip computer for the GXL. The VX and the Sahara do come with the trip computer. So engine is fantastic. We're going to show you how that performs on the road in a little bit. First of all, let's have a look at the trunk and tell you guys the capacity for it. For this car, it's an 8-seater. It has a split tailgate here as well, manual of course. All right, so with all seats up, you have 259 liters of space, which is not a lot, especially if you have 7 people. If you want to carry the luggage, this is just not enough. But you do have, if you put all seats down, this includes third row and second row, you have 1,276 liters of space, and that's what it will look like. Putting all the seats up manually, it does take some time. These over here, with the seats that recline up, they don't fold down into the floor space like newer cars. With the split tailgate, it's another problem. You can't really reach in too deep into the actual boot, so that's another thing to keep in mind. Let's go have a look at the back seats now, after we do fold them all down. Getting into the back seats of the Landcruiser, the door opens nice and wide. You got this, the wheel arch does pop out a little bit. You don't have too much space, but you got a step there. Remember, this car is lifted, it's not the stock one. You got an armrest here, nice and easy to get on top. In terms of the door, very normal. You got a speaker, you got an ashtray here, automatic windows for all 4 doors, and you got nice rigid big handles. The door sounds very nice when it does close. In terms of space, got heaps of it. Of course, for the second row over here, you can't slide the seat up forward and back, but you can recline the seats. In terms of space here, as I said, it's very good. You do not have an armrest with the 8-seater here. You do have climate control for the fan here. You can't change the temperature or anything. You climate control vents over here. You also got climate control for the top and for the third row as well. You got matte style, net style seat pockets. Relatively flat floor, so nice and easy. The car is very wide, so it can be easily, you can sit here. You could fit 3 adults easily in the back over here. Otherwise, it's all good. This is my driving position right now. Let's have a look at the front, and then we can go for a quick drive. Alrighty, getting into the front of the Landcruiser. Same here. You got your step, you got your handle over here to help you up. In terms of the door, similar to the back, you got your speaker. You got some supportive sort of soft touch over here, so you can rest your elbow on it while you're driving. Getting into it again, as I said, this car is lifted. It's gonna be a little bit harder, otherwise it's all good. Starting up, Even with the GXL, push button start as well. So brake on the pedal, and then just like that, it fires up. It sounds pretty good, the diesel. Otherwise, it's beautiful in here. You got the steering wheel. This being the 2010 model, does come with volume controls and change of track with mode for your radio. This is not a stock screen, of course. Again, you get different cluster for the GX and the GXL. The VX and the Sahara comes differently with the trip computer and a small screen. You can have a look at the drive information. Otherwise, the layout is pretty similar to the normal Landcruiser 200 that we drove, the petrol one that we drove. You got your climate control vents and stuff over here. You got your temperature over here. Not much. And you got your, here, these are your controls. So this one is your four-wheel drive low, and then you got your diff lock, center diff lock, and traction control off button. This has LEDs as well. This is the idle up for the diesel engine, to heat up the engine quicker. And this is to turn off your airbags. If you're going off-roading and you're gonna have some pretty steep angles, you can turn them off. You got crawl control over here and hill descent control. You can change the speeds, and you got your ECT, the power, which is sort of like a sport mode for a transmission. And then you got second start, which can be used when it's a bit wet and it's slippery, so you don't want to spin up the tires. You got cup holders, manual handbrake, and your gear shifter for your 6-speed automatic. You got sequential mode over here, up to change up, and then down to shift down. You got your D and R and P. Pretty simple. Let's go for a drive and show you guys how this drives and how it compares to the petrol. Alrighty, driving the 200 diesel. Does it drive differently? Barely. You can feel this is in terms of suspension, and the steering is very similar to the petrol 200 that we drove the other day. In terms of the engine feel is completely different. Of course, the diesel, it does seem a bit lazier when it does go ahead and go. When you're from a complete stop, it does feel a bit heavier to drive. Otherwise, there's not much difference. The petrol one is, of course, a little bit more snappy, a lot more responsive than the diesel. But this is not too bad either. I mean, heaps of torque. 650 newton meters of torque is a lot of torque. And you can feel it when you do push the engine. You get it at low RPMs as well, so you don't have to hustle the engine too much to actually get that torque off it. It really is impressive, the diesel one, and you can see why people do go ahead and buy the diesel over the petrol when they are thinking of towing. In terms of noise inside the actual car, wind noise, tire noise is pretty similar to the petrol, but you can hear the engine a lot more. It's a lot more rattly, the diesel. As I said, some people like that noise. It sounds good, don't get me wrong, but does it sound louder when you're driving? That's absolutely true. Otherwise, you know, it's very progressive. It is twin turbocharged, but you really can't feel that it's a turbocharged engine. Very responsive, there's no turbo lag. Really impressed with it. Cruise control is the same as well. Normal cruise control, just press the button over here and then put the handle down or the switch down, and that should set it to the speed that you want. Steering feel is it's nice and light. I think it should be a bit heavier at higher speed, especially right now. You don't, because of it's how light it is, you do need to correct it sometimes, and you end up sort of overcorrecting it. You just have to be focused on the road, really. Big door mirrors, nice good visibility from the back as well. All right, going back here, we're gonna test out the acceleration over here to 100 kilometers. There's no one behind us. All right, comparison to the petrol is not as loud. As I said, the engine, in terms of acceleration at the very start, it is just a little bit heavy until the turbos do kick in. You can feel that a little bit of lag, but not too much when you're driving. In terms of the actual acceleration, it's not that bad. It's nice and quick. It's a heavy car after all. This is, you know, tipping the scale at 2,700 kilograms, more than 2,700, with the add-ons of the bull bar at the front and the back. It's gonna be close to that 3-ton mark. So that acceleration is very, very good, and it might not be as fast as the petrol one in terms of speed, but this will pull a lot more than the petrol. This has a towing capacity, the same towing capacity as the petrol V8, the Landcruiser 200, 3,500 kilograms braked, and 750 not braked. As I mentioned in that video as well, it's the same figures, but this will do it a lot easier. This will do it a lot more efficiently as well. As you saw, Toyota is claiming that this does 10.3 liters per 100 kilometers. I can't really confirm or deny that because there's no trip computer, but I've spoken to the owner and they're telling me it can be closer to about 14 or 13 liters per 100 kilometers, which is not that bad for this size of engine pulling this much weight. 138 liter tank as well, just like the petrol. This should be good for, if you do the math, it should be good for about more than 1,000 kilometers of range, and I'm really impressed with it, to be honest. Let's go back and park the car, go out and give our verdict, and yeah. Alrighty, finishing off the review for the LC200, the diesel. And have a listen to that idle, a very iconic idle for Aussies. This sounds amazing. The car itself does everything well. Of course, it's a 4-wheel drive beast. Off-road wise, it's a towing beast. This can tow anything you want. It can get your family safely there. It's an 8-seater. You can put 8 people in. As I said, the back is not so good for carrying, I guess, 3 people, but for children it would be pretty good. Otherwise, the car is great. The car is fantastic. It's a lot more fuel efficient than the petrol. It's gonna tow better for towing purposes. It has more torque, so it's gonna be technically better off-road, but for the petrol it's quieter, it's not as loud as this. A lot more responsive, a lot easier to drive in the city and in low speeds. This is it sounds like a tank, it drives like a tank. It's an amazing vehicle, a very iconic vehicle here, the 200 series. Again, thank you very much, and this was a video requested by one of the commenters here that commented on LC200 petrol review. So we got you the diesel one. We're gonna try and put the Nissan Patrol on to put head to head with these two cars, the LC200 diesel and my own petrol one. Yeah, thank you again for watching this review. Please tell us, give us feedback on our reviews, tell us what we need to improve. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.